the biggest problem with fitness in 2017? There's so much information out there. How on earth are you meant to know what's good and what's not so good? You're not. It just gets hurled in your face and you're meant to go, well, I guess I've got to do all of this, otherwise I'll never have any gains, I'll never have a six-pack, I'll never have pecs, I'll never be anything. Thing is, that's not true, and if we're honest, a lot of the good information is actually information that came out years ago that we slowly evolve and kind of revamp as we learn more and more and grow as a species and grow as, I don't know, brains. Anyway, the point is you've got to ignore this ludicrous stuff, and that's why I'm Simon Miller from Fitness Gains, and this is the 7 biggest gym myths that are absolute nonsense. Number 7, protein makes you massive. If only that were true. Do you know how happy I'd be if all you had to do when it came to working out and training was eat loads and loads of protein, and all of a sudden you look like Arnold Schwarzenegger from the 70s? I tell you the answer, I'd be very, very, very happy. A big worry a lot of people have when they do introduce more protein to their diet or go on a whey protein supplement is that they think they're going to wake up the next day and they're going to be the Hulk. They're just going to roll out of bed and be this big ripped monster dude or dudette, even though that's not what they wanted to begin with. I don't mean to burst that bubble, but it's just not going to happen unless you're some kind of fitness, I don't know, savant, and you just adapt to this stuff like magic. But that doesn't happen, or if it does, you're very lucky, or at least I think you're lucky anyway. The reason it's important to increase protein when you start working out is because that it's the building block in terms of muscle growth and maintenance. It's unlikely you're taking enough prior to starting in the gym, so increasing the amount is only going to help you while training and, more importantly, while recovering. Your muscles need that nourishment. There are a lot of articles out there that will suggest you take anywhere from 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per pound of body weight, but for my money, you should just ignore all that. You're not a maths equation, you're a human being, so slowly increase your protein intake until you feel it's at a level that's working for you, and do that by looking in the mirror, looking at the scales, and how you feel in the gym. If you are just starting out, all I think you need to do is throw in a whey protein shake after you've trained or after you've worked out. That's it. Just do that, take it slow, take it easy, be smart. And remember, listen to your body, and remember that protein is actually good for you. Number 6, heavy reps when bulking, high reps when cutting. I've never understood this one, but the myth is if you want to put on size, you do low reps and heavy weight. And if you want to get shredded and have abs of steel, you do high reps and a lighter weight. Now, it's always good to shake things up because shaking things up will surprise your body and allow it to grow, but doing it that way makes absolutely no sense. You never want to fall into a pattern, but this isn't something you need to worry about, mostly because the body doesn't know. Look at it like this. If you have entered the deficit part of your diet, so taking in less calories, why would you want to risk sacrificing strength and therefore risk sacrificing all those hard-earned gains you've been working towards? During this time, you're not giving your body exactly what it wants, so don't go and ruin all the stuff you did while bulking. It's madness. Staying strong during such phases is imperative considering how your body works. It remembers what you have done in the past and will do its best to keep that up thanks to muscle memory. On top of that, the longer you can keep your strength up, the more information you have that despite dropping your food right down, you're clearly just tapping into fat stores as opposed to losing muscle. You'll always lose some because that's just how life works, and your strength is going to dip a bit. But transitioning from a calorie-heavy diet and strength training to hardly any calories and doing high reps is a surefire way to just give up all those gains you made over the last few months. The key, as already said, is to change it up when you think you're hitting a plateau or you feel like you need to shake up your training because your body's getting used to it and you're not seeing the kind of progress that you'd like. Strength is important, but blood circulation or pump training is important too. Figure out what will work for you that week, that day, or that month, and be sure that you're smart enough to change it before you fall into a pattern. Number 5, you can't train a muscle group more than once a week. Now, this one is potentially true, but it's all about how you are training or how you feel, and you certainly shouldn't stick to this idea verbatim. If you're going into every gym session, hitting it hard and waking up the next day in agony, then yeah, you got to take your time and allow your body to rest and recover. But I'd also argue that's not the best way to train. That's another video for another time. If you don't fall into this category, however, and are sticking to the conventional 4-day split of back, buys, chest, tries, legs, and shoulders, but not seeing the progress you want, there's a good chance you're not activating these groups enough. That doesn't mean you then throw another back session into the mix. That'll be too much for your body to handle. There's always the option to include an upper power and lower power day in order to get the most out of your routine. Try having the first 2 days in your gym week as each of these where you go heavy on bigger exercises, take a day off, and then make sure you dedicate 2 days later in the week to an upper hypertrophy and lower hypertrophy session. You'll be doubling how much you can train a muscle group. Make sure you're getting in those high reps and those low reps and just putting your body in a place where the potential for growth is at its maximum. Just make sure you get some solid rest in there too. Rest is important. Number 4, lifting heavy makes you massive. This ties into number 1 and again, is absolute nonsense. Obviously, if you are able to make some good strength gains in the gym, you are going to see muscular growth and you are going to start to look bigger. But it's not just a case of that and all of a sudden you wake up and again, you're a superhero. It comes down to thousands of variables to what you're actually doing in the gym, to your diet. The benefits of strength training or just trying to lift heavier, that it's a great way to break muscles down, which is imperative if you're trying to progress in the gym. Given that it's really what you do when said muscle is already broken down, from diet to rest, where you're going to see the most changes, you shouldn't ignore going heavy just because you think that's a surefire path to becoming a tank. As already mentioned here, you need a steady balance of all kinds of lifting to ensure you avoid hitting a plateau or stop developing, and on top of that, any gym program should always be adaptable. So don't just not do something because you don't want to do it. Do it, see how your body adapts, see if you're going in the direction you want, and if not, then introduce some changes so you start going where you do want to go. That's always the best way with these things because your body isn't going to be like anybody else's. So it may be the best thing you ever do, but it may be the worst thing you ever do. You just got to be aware of that and continue to keep ahead of the game. Number 3, creatine is steroids. This is the weirdest one ever, and even weirder still because I still hear it today and I've heard it countless times over the years. Forget that you can buy it in Tesco. Loads of people will walk up to you and go, creatine is steroids, and that's doubly bad because that's terrible English and terrible grammar, which proves once again that the words creatine and steroids should never be used in the same sentence. For starters, creatine is naturally found in the body and is primarily just an energy source. That's it. It pulls water into the muscle cell and in doing so can make it look bigger while also giving you more energy while lifting. And that's the end of it, really. It's why throwing in 5 grams a day with your intra or pre-workout shake is a great idea, and it's just going to help you be more effective in the gym. It certainly isn't steroids, and you're certainly not cutting corners by using it. You don't have to use it, and if you do, you may store a bit of water weight that will eventually pass, but it is something you should consider taking if you've hit a plateau or you just need to give your gym routine a bit of a wazoo. I don't know what that means. That's wazoo. Give it a wazoo. Number 2, a lot of protein will ruin my kidneys. Yeah. It will, if you're taking a ton of protein, not working out, and forgetting to drink loads of water. If you do that, you're going to ruin your kidneys. Increasing your protein intake will make the kidneys work harder, but if you're training and staying hydrated, a lot of this so-called excess will be utilized elsewhere, meaning you're not going to collapse all of a sudden. Now, this is obviously different if you already have a pre-existing kidney condition, then you've got to be careful. But for your average Joe, increasing the protein is just going to help with the gym, it's going to help with the body, and it's going to help with your progress. And I'm guessing that's what you want. And that doesn't mean you should start eating all the protein you possibly can either. If you do take in too much, that's still going to store as fat. But as always, the key is finding that sweet spot and keeping it there. Number 1, the only way to lose weight is to cut out carbs. I mean, that will work, but it's not the fact that you've cut out carbs, it's the fact you've cut out anything at all, and your overall calories have now decreased. And why anyone would choose to do this and cut out the wonderful creation that is carbs, I don't know. You lose weight when you're burning more calories than you're taking in, and a calorie doesn't care whether you're eating carbs or not. Balance is key when trying to drop some pounds, so you want to make sure you're doing cardio, weight training, and having a smart diet to get where you want to go. Dieting doesn't have to be sad and can actually be quite fun if you find the right setup, and you are going to have to decrease your carbs a little bit, but cutting them out entirely is actually going to hurt you more going forward. When you reintroduce them, your body's going to be super sensitive to carbohydrates, and you're just going to pile all this weight that you lost back on. Take things slow, gradually lower your daily intake until you start to see the changes you want to see, the scales are adding up, and you're looking better in the mirror. There's no magic trick to losing weight, it's all about patience, and that's it. So ignore the fad diets, do what you know makes sense, and above all that, make sure to treat yourself. You're working hard, deserve a treat. Now please do go to patreon.com/SimonMiller316 to support Fitness Gains. It's how all this stuff exists. Like, share and subscribe, leave a comment below, and remember, when you go to the gym this week, kick its ass and kick its ass hard.